Good evening, I'm Camelia and this is KiniNews. An activist has demanded that Anwar Ibrahim explain 1MDB's decision to drop its lawsuit against Riza Aziz and Red Granite. Charles Hector also called on Anwar to resign as Finance Minister. Activist Charles Hector has called on Prime Minister cum Finance Minister Anwar Ibrahim to explain 1MDB's move to drop its civil suit against Najib Abdul Razak's stepson Riza Aziz and Red Granite. In a statement yesterday evening, he questioned if Anwar, as Finance Minister, ordered or approved 1MDB's action. He noted that the Minister of Finance Incorporated owns 1MDB and it cannot do anything without the approval or consent of the Finance Minister. He said blame must lie on the Finance Minister, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, since it is a government-owned company and not simply a government-linked company where the government owns part of the shares. Charles argued that returning funds can only be a mitigating factor for the court to consider imposing a lighter sentence and question whether the money allegedly misappropriated by Riza had been returned in the first place. He also called on Anwar to resign from his position as Finance Minister, saying that it is a very important position and the PM and the Finance Minister must not be the same person. Charles said this will allow for check and balance to prevent the wrongdoings of any minister in their cabinet, including the Finance Minister. He added that the parliamentary select committees should also investigate 1MDB's decision to drop its lawsuit against Riza. On May 7, 2021, 1MDB and its subsidiaries filed a lawsuit against Riza and its two companies for purportedly receiving $248 million in funds misappropriated from 1MDB, which they allegedly misused for personal gain. The suit was withdrawn in open court on February 24th without any reason given. A DAP MP has questioned why PAS was silent over MCA's call for local elections in KL. This is as they had previously voiced out their opposition to a similar proposal from DAP. Kepong MP Lim Eng has questioned why PAS is keeping silent on the call by MCA President Wee Ka Siong for the government to reinstate local elections in Kuala Lumpur. In a statement today, Lim pointed out that PAS had previously voiced their opposition to a similar proposal by DAP just months ago. He recalled how PAS had strongly opposed the idea and even brought up the May 13th tragedy to scare the public. However, Lim noted that when MCA made the same request, PAS chose to remain silent. He questioned if PAS truly stood by its principles of opposing local elections. Why did they not challenge MCA the same way they did with DAP? He asked if the PAS principle does not exist, or is it merely a tool used when it benefits them politically? Lim also questioned whether PAS and MCA, which are currently on opposing sides in Parliament, have been secretly colluding and using racial issues to further their own agendas. Earlier this week, we called for local elections in Kuala Lumpur, noting the lack of elected people's representatives in the city aside from MPs. The Federal Territories DAP had also previously urged the government to reinstate local government elections in the nation's capital. The call courted widespread backlash from political foes and friends alike, as well as a police report from the Federal Territories' PAS youth. The AG has been urged to file new charges against Najib Razak in the IPIC case. 53 groups and 1,104 individuals have called on Attorney General Muhammad Dusuki Mokhtar to state the timeline for when new charges will be filed against Najib Abdul Razak in the International Petroleum Company case. This was announced in a joint press conference today by Bersih, Haram Ideas, Project Sama, Empower and Swaram. The demand came 3 months after the Kuala Lumpur High Court granted Najib a discharge not amounting to an acquittal on the case. The group said a DNAA means the defendants may be prosecuted with new charges by the prosecution. However, they added if the prosecution fails to bring new charges after a long time, the defendants may apply for a discharge amounting to an acquittal. The group stated that the DNAA in Najib's case was caused by the AGC's failure to obtain the necessary documents under Section 51A of the Criminal Procedure Code, which were reportedly classified as official secrets by the Ministry of Finance. Therefore, they urged Finance Minister Anwar Ibrahim to declassify the said documents to assist the AGC. Meanwhile, Bersih Deputy Chairperson Wong Yen Ke also urged politicians to state their opinions on corruption cases.
Therefore, I urge especially Pakatan Harapan, backbenchers, ministers, and even the deputy ministers, you need to come up and give your point, give your standpoint. Are you agree with Najib house arrest? Are you agree to press charge, or are you agree with the DNAA case? Are you agree that government agencies should press charge on the Sabah politicians?
If you'd like access to news like this and more, scan the QR code on the screen and subscribe to Malaysia Kini. Next, PN will be sending a letter to Fadila Yusof on allocations for opposition MPs. This was confirmed in a press conference by the coalition in Parliament today. Perikatan National Chief Whip Taqiyuddin Hassan today confirmed that he had contacted Deputy Prime Minister Fadila Yusof on the issue of allocations for opposition MPs. In a press conference in Parliament today, the Kota Baru MP told reporters in Parliament that he contacted Fadila to clarify a statement about the formation of a committee to examine all opposition proposals for a comprehensive solution. Meanwhile, opposition leader Hamzah Zainuddin said PN's next step will be to write a letter to Fadila for an official confirmation.
Jadi dia beritahu pada saya, you masuk surat dulu, I tubuh jawatankuasa. Jadi ini bersyaratlah. Jadi tuan-tuan boleh tanya dia balik. Itu I can prove. I'm a lawyer. I won't talk without fact. Kita itu dia kata. Itu dia kata. Dia kata kalau ada pembangkang, masukkan satu permohonan pada beliau minta nak berunding ataupun ada carangan balas, baru dia akan tubuhkan jawatankuasa. Itu yang kita faham. Jadi kita akan bincanglah macam mana perkara itu.
Langkah seterusnya begini. Kita akan menghantar surat mengatakan apakah benar kenyataan beliau yang beliau minta supaya kita menghantar surat. Kita akan tulis surat bahawa jika benar kebenaran, kami bersetujulah untuk ditubuhkan satu jawatankuasa. Okey?
Lawyers for Liberty has criticized the government after a senior citizen was charged with publishing false news, saying that they could have countered it with government communication facilities instead. Lawyers for Liberty has hit out at the government after Johari Ismail, 67, landed in prison after failing to pay a 30,000 ringgit fine for posting a false statement on social media. In a statement today, LFL accused the government of pulling the trigger on free speech over the use of Section 233(1)(a) of the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998 (CMA). LFL Executive Director Zaid Malik warned that if the police were relentlessly scrutinizing the public's online comments for even the slightest inaccuracy, people will be too afraid to speak out. He said anyone can make an honest mistake and question if they should be jailed for this. Zaid added that Article 10(1)(a) of the Federal Constitution upholds freedom of speech as one of the fundamental liberties of the people, and this right must be jealously guarded. Zaid also argued that irrespective of the alleged falsity of the statement, public discussion of the addendum issue is a topic of national interest. He said the government must not be trigger-happy in charging and jailing anyone who participates in such discussions. He added that if there was anything incorrect or untrue, the government is well equipped to counter it with the full force of the government communications facilities. On February 25th, Johari pleaded guilty for uploading a statement alleging that the Conference of Rulers had voted to take action against the government regarding its failure to act on the addendum related to former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak. Naim Mokhtar has called for stronger security for mosques and suraus. This came following an attempted assault of a girl at a mosque recently. The Federal Territories Islamic Religious Department has been urged to coordinate stronger security at mosques and suraus under its supervision. This followed an attempted assault of a girl who was performing prayers at a mosque recently. According to Bernama Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Naim Mokhtar said this must be implemented promptly to ensure the safety of congregants and local communities. He said he hopes the chairpersons of the Karya committees, together with their respective committees and management teams, would take the initiative to enhance the security level of their respective mosques and suraus. Naim added that mosques must serve as centers for strengthening Islamic faith, educating communities through the practice of Shariat or religious principles, and fostering unity among Muslims. He stressed the importance of optimizing all available resources at mosques and suraus. This included financial resources from mosque funds and skilled manpower from committee members who come from various professional and academic backgrounds. He said by maximizing these resources, he believes we can restore mosques to their rightful role as a vital institution in the community. That is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.